Hi there! So this video is my experience with anxiety. So this video is basically just going to be me talking. I'll kind of figure out where everything is and put the information down below, so if you want to skip to certain parts, you can do that. I have figured out what I'm going to say, so if you see me looking over here, it's because I have everything written out on my computer just so I could figure out what I want to say, just kind of like talking points. So if you're interested in watching this video, you can keep watching. I'm going to have other things about different mental illnesses as well that I'm going to make, so you can stay tuned for those as well. I'll also put them down below when they go up, or you can find them like in my channel somewhere. But I think it's time to dive right into this. Alright, so I first started experiencing anxiety when I was a child, especially things like my eating habits. I've always ate things in multiples of 2, so like 2, 4, 6, I always eat them in multiples. So that's, something that's been happening since I was a kid. I never thought that it was weird or anything until I grew older and learned about different mental health issues, I guess, and realized, okay, like, I guess that's not really a normal thing. Another thing is like a balance of like touching things. So if I touch something with my left hand, I would touch it with my right. I don't know, it's just like, I feel like that's something that I have to do. Like, you have to balance it out, because if I just touch something with my left hand and not with my right, I just feel very weird and unhappy. Like, it would be difficult to go on my day, to go about my day knowing that I was unbalanced. So another thing, I had a lot of worries when I was a kid. Like, I was scared to go to sleep because I was worried that the house would burn down while I was sleeping. And that's something that really bothered me and should not be bothering a kid. Like, a kid should not be worried about that. And I was very young, and I remember just being terrified, and I thought that if I did something wrong, it would cause my house to burn down. Like, if I didn't eat things in 2s, or if I didn't touch things equally. So that's kind of the things that started when I was a kid that have carried on throughout my life. I'm just gonna put this out there. I have always been a very shy person, but that being said, being shy is not the same as being anxious or experiencing anxiety. Shy people can be anxious, outgoing people can be anxious, anyone can experience anxiety. It's not just a shy person's illness, so to speak. So I just wanted to put that out there. Just because I'm shy, that's not like the reason that I have anxiety. It's just I happen to be shy and have anxiety. Great. So throughout my life, it hasn't been, sorry, this is a weird spot for me to talk. Okay. So throughout my life, it hasn't been a huge, like, impacting thing. I didn't really think of it as anything bad, actually, until grade 10. So grade 10 was when it got really bad for me. I ended up missing a lot of school because the anxiety would make me feel, and this happens with a lot of people, like, it is a thing that happens, it makes me feel like physically ill. Like, I would have terrible stomach aches and I could not go to school. I could not get out of bed. I was just like, it just was not okay. It came on so strong that it was super physical symptoms. Usually, nowadays, at least my anxiety, like, obviously there's physical symptoms, but I kind of just, they're ones that aren't, I guess, like, they don't stop my day-to-day life in the sense, like, I feel like I'm going to throw up, so I cannot leave my house. They're not like that. For me, it's more like, I feel like I'm going to faint, because that's how anxious I am. But that's something I can just sit down and then get on with my day. But yeah, back at the time I thought that I was just, like, actually sick. I was missing tons of school, and missing all the school made my anxiety worse because the more I avoided school, the less I wanted to go back to school and the less comfortable I felt going back to school. I was also missing a lot of work. I didn't want to face my teachers, my peers. I didn't want to answer a bunch of questions about why I was missing all this school. So it just turned into this really big issue. But when grade 10 ended, my anxiety got a little, like, it went away a little bit. I started excessively exercising. I told myself that I had to go to the gym for at least like 3 hours every single day. And if I didn't go for 3 hours every day, my whole routine felt off. I set up this routine for myself. Wake up at 8, go to the gym, be done at 11, and then come home. And then I had the rest of the day to do stuff. If I didn't go in the morning, I would go at night. It was a 20-minute walk there and a 20-minute walk back. I'd go even if it was raining. It was just something I told myself that I had to do. So obviously that's not a very good thing. So the anxiety kind of lessened, but that's when depression took over. So in grade 11 and especially in grade 12. But I do have another video that I'm going to make on my experience with depression. It'll be titled that, just like this video is called My Experience with Anxiety. So the depression took over. I didn't feel super anxious really about anything. I moved to a new town at the end of grade 12. So I was meeting all these new people. That was all fine, totally cool. Like I said, I am shy, but being shy and having anxiety are not the same thing. So it was kind of hard to meet new people. I'm a shy person, but I was excited to meet new people. I wasn't like super anxious about it or anything. Everything was going great until I had my first panic attack, and I'm actually going to make like a story time video about this, I think. So having my first panic attack was the first time that I tried smoking weed. So, okay. So it was after my first time smoking weed. So like I said, I am going to make my own my own story time video about that. Panic attacks, if you haven't had one, here's what it feels like. It feels like you're completely out of control and you are dying. Like, I literally feel like I'm dying when I have them. But also, like, I'm going absolutely crazy. And the more you think about the things that you're having, like the symptoms that are showing up, the worse it gets. You just kind of focus in and you try to stay in control so much that you end up completely losing control. At least that's what happens for me. I was convinced that I was going to be like that forever and I would never get better, and just that was how my life was now. So I better learn to live with this scary reality that was happening. That's how I guess I can describe it. My first panic attack, at least. And I remember thinking, you know what? I don't want to feel like this forever. I'm going to be stuck like this forever. I should just kill myself and then I'll be better. That is what I thought was rational at the time. Like, you know what? This would be a good way to deal with this. No, obviously not. So that made me feel very weird for a very long time. My first panic attack. So you know what? I was feeling a bit better. I was going to this fun music festival near me called Veld. Music festivals kind of go hand in hand with like drugs. So I went to Veld, did some drugs, and that definitely made my mental illnesses a lot worse. Anxiety worse, depression worse, I guess I should say. So kind of like made everything so much worse than it already was. Stupid for me to do that. It was so fun at the time, but afterwards, just 100% it wasn't worth it. This is just how I experienced this. I know people who go to music festivals, do drugs, and are completely fine. Obviously, it just depends on the person. I am not someone who should be doing that. So what would happen a lot is I would have really bad panic attacks at night, and I didn't know how to deal with them. So I would just cry, thinking, I'm never going to be better. I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life. Great. I'm so excited. So the panic attacks at night went on for a little bit. I had a friend that I was talking to, and he helped kind of talk me through them, gave me some tips and stuff. So that was really nice. I get panic attacks on the bus as well, going to and from university. I would just start thinking and thinking and thinking, and I would think myself into a panic attack. I don't know why I didn't try to stop myself from doing that, but I would just think and think and think, and then a panic attack would come, and I'd freak out that I was having a panic attack, and then it would make my panic attacks worse. That's what happens with panic attacks, pretty much. So, for the longest time, actually still now, pretty much, anxiety makes me not feel like a real person. That's just how I'm gonna say it, I guess. Don't feel like a real person. It might be because of anxiety, it might be because of something else. I don't know. That's just a thing that I experienced. So things got better for a bit after that. My anxiety and depression kind of went down a little bit, but mostly because I was in a relationship that wasn't a very good relationship. So I was focusing all my energy and everything into that. Oh, cat. Rather than depression and anxiety and all that stuff. There's just a kitten sitting beside me, no big deal. Okay, so things, like I said, they started to get better, but that's just because other things in my life were worse. So I moved back home after the breakup, and I felt way more depressed than anxious. So that was cool. Felt a lot more depressed. Whenever I feel more depressed, I don't really feel as anxious. If I feel really anxious, I don't tend to feel depressed. It's kind of like I have one or the other. I can't just have none because life doesn't work that way, I guess. But the anxiety slowly started coming back. I found a way to help control it, but obviously it wasn't a real way to control it. It was tricking myself into thinking I had control through an eating disorder. I guess I can just come out and say it. I'll make another video on this as well. So it was because of an eating disorder. It tricks you into thinking you have control until all of a sudden you realize that you're not in control. It's actually the eating disorder in control. Like I said, I'm going to make another video. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Throughout all of this, I still had compulsive tendencies, like eating things in twos, having to balance things out by touching them. Those have always been a part of my life. I'm not really sure how to work through those. I don't know. So with this anxiety under control, the depression sort of took over again. It got really, really bad, but I am going to make a video just on depression. So you'll hear all that in the story. Okay, you need to stop grooming yourself. You're being really distracting. Okay. So I went on medication. I went on Cipralex for the depression. So with the depression controlled by medication, my anxiety skyrocketed. I would get panic attacks every single day, every single night. It started to happen so badly that I was afraid to leave my house. I missed out on events and concerts and stuff that would have been fun just because I was super anxious and would get panic attacks, or I'd be afraid that I was going to get a panic attack, so I would miss out on doing fun stuff with my friends because I didn't want panic attacks. And I would get panic attacks at work, and that sucked, having to still work while experiencing a panic attack. So I got medication for panic attacks from the walk-in. So I got clonazepam and Ativan. I've used both, but I would have to use the medication all the time, and I didn't really like having to rely on medication for the panic attacks. Oh god, I'm wearing my pajamas again. I didn't want to rely on the medication to help control my panic attacks when I was already on other medication. Like, I don't want to be filled with medication all the time. So I went to the doctor and I got put on an anxiety medication called Cymbalta. It's also used for depression, kind of like interchangeable. So I got put on Cymbalta, and then shortly after that, I moved to a new city. I was still having panic attacks. Right before I started my new job, I tried to visit some of my friends in another town, but I had a panic attack and I had to go home. And honestly, that's really embarrassing. And I had to pay for a cab home, and it was really expensive. And then I started my new job. Everything was going fine. But then I started getting panic attacks at work, and it was just so difficult to keep working. And I tried breathing techniques and everything, but I never felt quite right. And like I said, I don't like using clonazepam. It's really addictive. You can look it up. It's really addictive. I don't want to be addicted to something to help panic attacks. I just want them to go away. I don't want to be addicted to something. Yeah. So I didn't like using that. Plus, I don't want to pay for drugs. I did have a drug plan until I turned 21. So it was really inexpensive, but still, if I don't have to pay that, I'd rather not. And I just want, I want to rely on something that's not drugs to get me through it. Yes. So, eventually, I guess you would call it like a mental breakdown. I'm not going to go into details of it, into the details of it in this video. Maybe I'll make its own video. So, I had like a mental breakdown type thing at work. I haven't been at work since then. That was like a month ago. I'm on a sick leave type thing. So I've been seeing a counselor once a week, and I'm on new medication, and I haven't had panic attacks in a while, so that's good. But I still feel really weird and not quite right. I'm hoping that will go away. I honestly don't know what the future holds. No one knows what the future holds. My anxiety story isn't over. I'm probably going to be dealing with this for a very long time. Mental illnesses don't just disappear. I wish they did. That would make my life so much easier if they would just disappear and I'd be normal. Whatever that means. Might have these issues forever, and I need to learn to accept that this might be my life. And yeah, I need to just realize that just because I'm not normal doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. Because no one's really normal. Sure, some people don't experience mental illness, but that doesn't mean that I'm any less of a person than they are. Even though it feels like that every day. And I do have other things related to anxiety that I'm going to put in another video. This video is getting really long though. So that's the end of this video. My anxiety story. Stay tuned for my depression story and like eating disorder things. I have so many things planned. It's ridiculous. I just need to get them all done, get them on my channel so everyone can watch. And this is also kind of therapeutic for me just to talk about and get it out there. Yeah, so as always, have a great day, have a great night. I'm gonna try to get better lighting for my next video. Yeah. Stay normal.